The WNBA is in an absolute frenzy, and it's all because Sophie Cunningham just couldn't hold back. Her recent comments have unleashed a firestorm, a wave of anger and heated debate that's now led to a jaw-dropping fine. A fine that feels clearly designed to shut her up. But was this a fearless stand for what's right? Or did she cross a line in the league's eyes? Fans are completely split. Players are buzzing behind closed doors, and the tension is spreading like wildfire. One thing for sure, this isn't just about a basketball game anymore. This is the high-voltage story behind the fine. There's everyone talking. Sophie Cunningham has been thrust into the center of one of the most intense player versus league showdowns the WNBA has ever seen. We're not talking about a small penalty here. We're talking about 4 fines, a total of $2,000. That's not a slap on the wrist. That's a direct message from the league to a rising star they clearly see as a problem. It all started when Sophie, disgusted with a game marred by what she saw as shady officiating, posted a blunt TikTok. In a single 30-second clip, she called the referees useless. That short video cost her $500, leaving fans and players stunned by the speed and severity of the punishment. But Sophie didn't back down. Instead, she doubled down on her podcast, standing by her words and widening the lens to expose the deep, league-wide frustration players feel over incompetent and biased officiating. That bold move earned her another hit, this time for $1,500. Her total fine now sits at a staggering $2,000, a figure that screams the WNBA wants her quiet. But it's done the exact opposite. It's set off a firestorm that has the entire basketball world buzzing. The backlash came instantly. Social media exploded with hashtags rallying behind Sophie. Fans pointed out the glaring hypocrisy in the league's approach. In a matter of hours, GoFundMe campaigns covered her fines entirely. Petitions demanding referee accountability and transparency pulled in thousands of signatures almost overnight. The outrage was sharp and united. Why punish a player for speaking the truth about something everyone can see? Why ignore the broken officiating system while hammering someone who calls it out? This isn't just a story about fines and frustration. It's a tipping point for the league. The standoff between players and referees, the questions about fairness, and the demand for transparency are all boiling over. As support for Sophie grows, the WNBA is staring down a challenge that could redefine its future. The fallout from Sophie's stand is only in its opening chapter. Now, the question is, will this courage light a path to reform, or will it unleash a backlash the league can't contain? The gap between how the WNBA and other major leagues handle criticism is glaring. In the NBA, outspoken players like Draymond Green or legends like Charles Barkley have made careers out of telling it like it is. Barkley built his brand on calling out flaws with no filter, and fans love him for it. It's part of the NBA's culture. Candor isn't just tolerated, it's celebrated. But Sophie's experience in the WNBA tells a very different tale. After daring to call out referees for failing to protect players, including Caitlin Clark, the hammer dropped. She went from venting her frustration to being pulled aside by a league official and warned, "They're going to fine you again." That's not feedback. That's a threat. The message is clear. Speak your mind and you'll pay for it. The NBA might encourage open debate, but the WNBA's playbook leans towards silencing dissent. And that raises an uncomfortable question. What kind of culture does this league want to build? Ironically, only in the WNBA could you get fined for talking about your own fine. You couldn't script a more bizarre scenario if you tried. Sophie Cunningham shared on her podcast how her general manager pulled her aside in front of her teammates to break the news that the league had slapped her with yet another penalty. She wasn't spewing profanity. She wasn't hurling personal insults. She was simply talking about the refs and their performance. Sophie even made it clear that some officials are talented and their job is no walk in the park. But that small acknowledgement didn't matter. The WNBA's disciplinary hammer still came crashing down. The bigger issue is that none of this would be happening if officiating was consistently fair and competent in the first place. When refs miss obvious calls right in front of them, calls that directly affect players' safety, frustration is inevitable. And this isn't just about Sophie. This is about Caitlin Clark being hacked, shoved, and blindsided game after game without protection. This is about the Indiana Fever fighting uphill, not just against opponents, but against inconsistent officiating. Instead of treating these criticisms as valuable feedback and working toward improvement, the league doubled down on punishment, turning a minor incident into a major scandal. The hypocrisy is glaring. Dangerous cheap shots, like Marina Mabrey's blindside hit on Clark and Dejanai Carrington's near-eye poke,